Assalamu alaikum, hello, and welcome to this, your Two White Muslims show.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa rahmatullahi
Wa barakatuh.
My name's Junaid Rahim.
My name's Mohammed Yusuf Bashful.
And as you all know, together, we're affectionately known as
The Two White Muslims.
It's impossible at this moment in time to have failed to notice that there are significant issues facing our brothers and sisters in humanity and our brothers and sisters in Islam in the Palestine and Israeli conflict. We both feel that it would be an error to not discuss this evening, given the impact it has on everybody involved, those there, but also those miles away who feel it in their very bones when these tragedies occur.
Do you know, Junaid, that there are all sorts of mixed messages coming through from the media, mixed messages from government.
And people finding it hard to know what's the right thing to say. I don't want to upset or offend anybody. I want to be on the right side of history, but I also want to converse in a way that's not going to offend.
For example, there are some people now saying it's illegal to fly a Palestinian flag.
Yes.
It isn't. It's illegal to promote terrorism.
Yes.
But flying a Palestinian flag doesn't do that.
Yeah.
All that flying the Palestinian flag promotes is solidarity with the people who are being battered at the moment.
Yes. And it is the flag of Palestine. We're going to talk a lot about how people conflate things, how people join one thing with another, and it creates confusion and misinformation. You and I were both raised in the 70s and into the 80s. I can remember when skinheads in this country marching up and down the streets with the Union Jack decrying immigration and saying that it should stop, and people who we both love and adore should go to another country.
Yes.
And they were doing that carrying the Union Jack. Came to a point where when you saw that flag, it was associated with what?
Racism.
With racism.
Yeah.
And there are people in my family and people in your family who, when they see that flag now, even today, get a little shiver run down the spine.
The interesting thing, though, is that these sets of racist people who were anti-immigration adopted a different kind of flag eventually. They went away from the Union Jack and adopted the George flag.
Yes.
Yeah, what is the George flag?
Well, the George flag is a white background with a red cross on it.
And where did that come from?
Well, right, okay, let's go off for one, shall we? Our patron saint in this country, our patron saint is Saint George, yeah? And Saint George used to carry a shield which was white with a red line down it and a red line across it. And so, you know, that was then taken into the Crusades and it represented England. Where was Saint George from?
Turkey.
Turkey. He was Turkish.
He was Turkish.
Now, he was actually a Turkish Christian, but that's only because it was before our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought the message of Islam.
Yes.
So, in effect, had it been a few hundred years later,
he would have been Muslim. Of course he would.
He'd have been Muslim. And I think this is great. I think this is absolutely phenomenal. But it just goes to show how people misinterpret information. So, to take St. George, who was a Turkish person, and use his representation in a racist way against immigration,
the UK,
is extraordinary.
It's paradox.
So to take the Palestinian flag and suggest that flying that is promoting terrorism is abhorrent.
Yes,
I find it hugely offensive.
So do I.
But of course, if people are using it to promote terrorism, then that is illegal. That is wrong. And I'm sure you would decry it, I would decry it, and I'm sure everybody watching this evening would decry that as well. To declare freedom for an entire populace, that's not illegal.
No.
That's just being human. It's extraordinary.
Okay, I put my Palestinian flag outside of my window, which is the third floor up, and it's visible from a major trunk road within Leeds.
Yep.
Alhamdulillah. So a few thousand people see that flag every single day, and I'm quite proud to fly it.
Yes.
Now, if anybody comes up and tells me that I'm breaking any law, then first of all I'll question where they've got their information from, because that's not my understanding. And I'll also stand my ground, because I want to be visibly and vocally in support of the plight of the Palestinian people. That's my right as a human being. It's my right under the laws of freedom of speech, whilst not promoting terrorism in any way, shape or form.
Yeah. And if we take an example, we've been on several marches, have we not? You know,
yes.
Any available march, we're there.
Yes.
Because with the exception of getting on a plane and going to Palestine, you think, well, what can I do? I can donate to certain places. I can educate myself. I can pray. And I can march. I can go out and show that there is support for peace. There's support for a ceasefire, their support for freedom of occupation. And we do that by marching. And we both wore the flag of Palestine. My youngest wore the flag of Palestine, and people had the flag of Palestine draped over them. And, you know, the weird thing is, I'm incredibly proud to be British. You know, it's my heritage, it's where my parents were born, my grandparents. We can date our family all the way back to the Doomsday Book. And oh yeah, great, British. But I'd have felt really weird walking down a road with a Union Jack or a flag of St. George on my shoulders.
Yeah.
But to do that with a flag of Palestine felt amazing. So do not fear utilising the flag of Palestine, standing in support of a people who are under occupation being persecuted.
Being murdered. Really.
Yeah.
That's the sad reality.
Yeah.
So I put a post in support of the Palestinian people on my Facebook page. What I wrote was, from the river to the sea, ... and then I put a picture of the Palestinian flag underneath those words.
Showing solidarity for
the Palestinian people and their right to live in peace and their right to exist.
And who could possibly have any objection to such a statement?
The thing is that what people don't realise is that there are currently about 2 million Arab Muslim people living in Israel. Now, I would doubt very much that given that the State of Israel has said Palestinian people should not have the right to exist.
Yes.
This has been stated at a very high level within the Israeli government. I don't agree with them. In fact, I vehemently disagree with them. It is a stated intent to rid that area of Palestinian people.
Yes,
Yeah.
and the state of Palestine.
And the state of Palestine to be gone. That in itself is criminal, and we're witnessing war crimes happening every hour of every day.
Yes.
As this war continues,
Yep.
it's crazy. But do you know what? From the river to the sea, what I'm saying is that Palestinian people should be free
Yes.
and should be able to exist.
Yeah, and let's examine that, because there's been a huge amount of controversy. The Home Secretary has tried to create a situation where stating from the river to the sea Palestinians will be free is considered anti-Semitic.
Yes.
That's what they are trying to establish. But let's think what those words say. From the river to the sea. Well, from the River Jordan
Yeah, to the sea.
to the sea, Mediterranean. I'm going to go with, we'll go with Mediterranean. From the River Jordan to the Mediterranean Sea, we're saying that the people within that area should live free. We're not saying should obliterate any particular state, should remove a state, end a state, should kill certain people. What we're saying when we make that statement, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, we're saying that the people who live there will live in freedom. Do they live in freedom at the moment?
No.
No, they live in the largest what?
Open air prison.
Which I don't think does it justice.
Nope.
Open air concentration camp, maybe. People in prison aren't generally considered free. So when we're saying from the river to the sea, let those people be free, we literally mean live in freedom. But again, if we could draw parity, because we were discussing this earlier, when the message Black Lives Matter was first introduced, there was an awful lot of white people took offence. Because what they heard was, well, if Black Lives Matter, white lives don't. That's not what it's saying. That's not what was being said.
Nothing like
it. Was saying throughout history, white lives have mattered.
Yeah.
That's a tick. That's a given. What we're saying is Black Lives Matter as well. But Black Lives Matter as well isn't really a very welcoming phrase, is it?
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
Because
It's
just by
not
saying
quite
as well,
catchy,
it
is it?
suggests that you don't think they do matter.
It's not catchy enough.
Oh my goodness. So to say that Black Lives Matter does not say that white lives don't. And I think people have come to recognise this. So to say we want Palestine and the Palestinian people to be free isn't saying that we want anything negative to happen to anybody else.
No.
But let's be fair, it is asking for occupation to end.
Yes.
For persecution to end. So how can anybody make that statement anti-Semitic and therefore illegal?
Okay, Junaid, are you anti the people who follow the Jewish religion?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Nor am I. Not in
As
any
we always
shape or form.
say, following one of the three religions is a phenomenal start.
Yes.
I have an opinion on which one I think is best.
Yes.
I happen to have a personal opinion.
Do you know
I'm
what?
sure it's
I agree with you.
I'm sure it's shared by many people watching.
Yes.
But the fact is, those of the book are awesome. So that is both Jews and Christians, as well as us Muslims, but Jews and Christians are awesome. They believe in
one God.
one God. Alhamdulillah, that's phenomenal.
So the Jewish tradition, the Christian tradition, and the Islamic tradition are all known as the
Abrahamic
religions. Why? Because they are all founded on the teachings of Abraham.
Alhamdulillah.
So we all follow pretty much the same line of thinking.
Yes.
Yep. Some have gone a little bit astray in parts.
Yep.
Some have gone a little bit too down one road and not taking a holistic view.
Yep.
And what Islam's done, in my opinion, is come and repaired the inconsistencies that were caused by mankind.
Yes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is perfection. Human beings,
they're not.
Bit rubbish. Bit rubbish, we just are. So we're given a message. You know, they call it telephone now, don't they?
Yes.
But where you whisper to one person, they whisper to the next person, they whisper to the next person. By the end of the row of people, totally different message.
Different message altogether.
You know, when we, as human beings, pass a message on, it tends to get distorted. Things change over time. It's maybe not understood because it's a few hundred years later, or it's not understood because it's a few hundred years prior to when that message is meant to be important.
Yeah. Or some people get hold of that message and decide that part of it they like, other parts of it they're not too sure about.
Yes.
So they leave out those bits and just concentrate on the bits that they actually like.
Yep.
But that is not conveying the message.
Yeah.
That's conveying a version of the message which suits you. Which is suitable at that time. So when we say from the river to the sea, ... we're saying everybody should be free to live their lives, and they should live in peace side by side. They should live,
not in fear,
not one controlling or oppressing the other. They should live with equal rights, equal human rights as well as social
freedom of
and
movement,
political rights.
So
they
should
have all the freedoms that we enjoy.
Freedom of religion, whatever religion they choose.
Yes.
Freedom to work. We discussed last week that area has a 50% unemployment rate. Half the people in that area cannot or do not work. That's extraordinary.
Yes.
You know, how can you expect a people to look after themselves and to provide for themselves in a situation like that? So freedom to work, freedom to have jobs, freedom to travel, freedom of will. You know, I mean, well, okay, we're going to talk about the area. We're going to start by talking about Al-Aqsa. You've been.
I have.
Was it an easy place to get into?
No.
Why not?
Because it's every gate and entrance to the precinct of Al-Aqsa is guarded by Israeli guards.
So it's in effect policed.
It's
policed
not just
everywhere.
It's militarised. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't a truncheon they pointed at you, was it?
These are soldiers with guns and the rest. Yeah. Tear gas canisters, grenades, guns, all on them. Yeah. And yes, I was faced when I was going on to through one of the gates. I was faced with a Israeli guard who pointed a gun at me and told me to give him my passport. So I did.
Pointed a gun at you?
He was pointing a gun at me, so I reached very carefully into my pocket and pulled my passport out really slowly. And I handed it to this guy, and he opened it up and said, "What's your name?" I said, "Well, my name's in my passport, if you can read." So, but if in the event that you can't read, I'll make it easy for you. My name is Muhammad Yusuf Bashforth. Are you Muslim? He said. I said, well, with a name like Muhammad, you can guess, can't you? Yeah? And yes, I am Muslim. He said, recite from the Quran. You know, I was thinking, this is just ridiculous. All I want to do is go and visit a place where I am rightfully enabled to go and visit, that being the third most holy site in Islam.
Yes.
I just want to get through this gate onto that precinct. So I was thinking, what's all this? Why is he doing this? So he said, recite from the Quran. So I very, very, very carefully put my hand up and literally pushed his gun to one side and said, "Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun," which we most of us will know means, "Say, you unbeliever." Now, he didn't like that, and he understood that because they are actually trained in the Arabic language.
Yep.
And they're trained, part of their training is to read the Quranic text, so that they recognize it when it's being spoken out in the public. Subhanallah. And that was just trying to get into Al-Aqsa. Let's not talk just yet about the numbers of times that Al-Aqsa is invaded by the Israeli military, even during the likes of Taraweeh prayers during Ramadan. Anyway, we'll come back to this. We're just going to take a quick break for a couple of minutes. Enjoy, and we'll see you soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.